Ted Kirkendall here from ulearnguitar.com. It's the letter U, learnguitar.com. We're going to talk about a way to play a 12-bar blues rhythm today using movable chords. Okay, so this is absolutely crucial. Learning this, you can play in any key. You can go to a blues jam and somebody might call out D flat. I don't know why they would do that, but it's happened. I've heard it. And you'd have to find yourself a D flat and play this pattern right up here at the 9th fret. So very powerful thing. We're using all closed position chords, movable chords. So you really should mention you have to know your notes along the fretboard. Okay? If you don't know those, check out my website, ulearnguitar.com. Go to the basics page and you can find the notes on the fretboard. Very, very important to learn those. And we'll explain why in a later video. Alright, so you might remember from an earlier lesson we were playing the 12-bar blues down here in open position. Okay, so we were in the key of A. We had this open A string and this E note at the 2nd fret on the D string. Okay, we're going to take those two notes and we're going to move them to the 5th fret on the 6th string for the A note and the 7th fret on the A string for our E note. Okay? We're still going to play that power chord. However, since we no longer have an open string, we've got to use our 1st finger and our 3rd finger. And then to get that other note, we've got to throw our pinky in there. Okay, so instead of this, now we've got this. Same notes. Okay? Slightly different sound because of no longer having an open string. Okay, so same thing. We've got 4 measures on the A chord. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4. Okay, then we go to, we drop straight down, just like we did here, to our D chord. Take our 1st finger, move to the 5th string, 5th fret, ring finger on the 4th string, 7th fret, pinky going up and down on the 9th fret on the 4th string. So now we got 2 bars of D. 1, 2, back to A for 2. Now, when we get to the E chord, we're not going to go all the way down here. We could, but we want to make this all in closed position so we can move it to any key. Okay, so we're going to move up to the 7th fret on the 5th string. That's our E note. The 9th fret on the 4th string, that's B. And then we're going to be putting our pinky on the 11th fret, which is C sharp. Okay, so we got 1 bar here on the E, back to D for 1, back to A for 1, and back to E for 1. So we have that same turnaround that we had in the open position. E, D, A, and E. Okay? Alright, so let me play through the whole thing once. You follow along on the counting and when to change chords and all that. 1, 2, 3, 4. that's as straight as it's going to get. There are lots of little things we can do with this. Nice advantages that we have playing this in this movable position that we don't have playing it down here. Down here has a great sound, playing it. You know, playing it down in open position has a great sound. But what we're talking about is being able to move this to any key. So we're playing it in a closed position. Here's one thing you can do to add to this. You can approach the chords from, you know, a half step below, half step above. So here's what I'm talking about. On the and of the 4 of the measure before you play, you know, you're playing the chord, you're going to move from a half step below into the chord. So it's going to be, I'm going to go from A flat to A on the and of 4. Here's what I mean. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay, so you got that? Okay, I could do it in triplets and move 2 frets. Okay, a little quick tempo to do that. I probably wouldn't do that very often. You can walk up to your next chord. It would be like I'm going to walk from my A chord to the D chord. 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I went in that 4th measure, going up to the D chord. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay, so I could walk back into my A chord. So I can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a ZZ Top song that does that. Tush. Okay, I could walk into my E chord from there. So. Okay, lots of things you can do. Just kind of use your ear. Make sure it, you know, it kind of works. It works out. You want to land right on the beat on the new chord. Right on the D chord when it's time to go to the D chord. So again, that was, let me explain those a little bit. Again, on the 4th bar of the A chord going to the D chord, I'm going 5th fret, 7th fret, 8th fret, 9th fret, and then I'm on my D. Then I'd have a measure D, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2nd fret, 3rd fret, 4th fret, A, 2, 4, 1, 4th fret, 5th fret, 6th fret, E, fret. Okay? So that's a really cool thing you can do. Another thing you might notice is the way it sounds. I'm not going, that's fine, but I want to get this little bounce in there, like. Okay, so that is all being done with the left hand. Okay, you can mute it with your right hand, your picking hand, depending on if you're left-handed or right-handed. But what I'm doing is bouncing, okay, with my left hand. You look at my left hand. So I pick it, and I immediately let up on the pressure with my left hand fingers on the strings. So I'm not taking them off, right? I'm just touching the strings, but not lifting up or not taking them off the strings. Okay, so I'm going bounce, bounce. Okay, so you can hear the difference. It's a big difference. Okay, there are so many variations on this. I couldn't begin to show them all to you here. Another thing I do is I'm taking this 7th chord shape, okay, this is A7, 5th fret, 7th fret, 5th fret, 6th fret, and I'm approaching it again 1 fret below, which would be A flat 7. So 3, 4. So I'm getting a fuller sound, right? I'm getting that chord. Okay. So that's a cool thing. So we got the bouncing, we got the approaching it from different frets. It's kind of strange. You could approach it from above. I don't know if I've ever heard anybody do that, but so maybe that'll be your thing. Go ahead and steal that. It's a little funny. Okay. Another thing I want to point out is I'm really getting a pretty heavy whack on the strings. Okay. Okay, so I'm not. Now, if I was coming to a really quiet part, I might do this, but this isn't really a rhythm part that is played quietly, typically. It's pretty rockin'. What else can I tell you here? As far as moving into other keys, where your first finger starts here in the first measure, that is the key. Okay, that's what key you're in. All right, so I am in the key of A because this note is A. Okay, this isn't a lesson on the notes on the fretboard. Again, you can go to my website and find those out. But if I wanted to play it in B flat, all I would do is take my first finger and move it up 1 fret. Everything else, moves accordingly. So now I'm on 6 and 8. 6, 8 for the E flat chord and 8, 10 for the F chord. So it's totally movable. Okay, that is about it for the movable 12-bar shuffle rhythm. Again, today we played it in the key of A. Play around with that in A. Learn it in G, that's 2 frets lower. Learn it in C, that's 3 frets higher. D is a couple more frets above the C. Okay? The closer you get down here towards the nut, the bigger of a stretch it is. So it's a workout down here in F. So if you find this too hard at the 5th fret, add 3 to everything on the tab and play it on the 8th fret in C. Slightly less of a stretch. Okay? Alright, so have fun with that. We'll see you at youlearnguitar.com. Okay, thanks a lot. Bye-bye.